The Drake Passage is the world's most dangerous sea route, one that humans have been avoiding for thousands of years. Many people think the primary purpose of building the Panama Canal was to create a shorter route that connected the eastern coast of America to South America and the rest of the world. And that's true, but there was another significant reason for constructing the canal. It was also built to bypass a 620-mile stretch of dangerous sea between Antarctica and Cape Horn, where the Pacific, Atlantic, and Southern Oceans meet. This area is known as the Drake Passage, and it is extremely perilous. But why is this region so dangerous? And why has crossing it always been compared to walking straight into certain death for centuries? To understand this, we need to travel back to the 15th century, when a pirate named Francis Drake was feared throughout the Atlantic Ocean. During this time, the British and Spanish empires were competing for control of the world. Drake was not an ordinary pirate. He had direct support from the British Empire, which helped him raid African cities, loot them, and bring slaves back to Britain. The British Empire was so pleased with his actions that they decided to send him to South America to disrupt Spain's control there. The plan was for Drake to attack villages along South America's eastern coast, cross the Strait of Magellan, and then attack villages on the western coast, bringing them under British control. In December 1577, Drake set out with 200 men and 5 ships. By April, he had reached Argentina, where his crew split into factions. Drake had about 40 of his men executed and continued his journey with 3 ships. After crossing the strait, he entered the Pacific Ocean, but a powerful storm hit, and the ships got separated. One ship assumed Drake had died and returned to England, while another ship got lost in the Drake Passage and disappeared. Drake followed the trail and reached the coast of the Drake Passage, but realized that going any further would mean certain death. At that time, no one knew what lay beyond this point, since world maps had not yet been created like they are today. Drake turned his ship back and continued along South America's western coast, looting and attacking villages until he reached San Francisco. He never returned to Britain, fearing that if he did, he would once again find himself trapped in the Drake Passage and never come back alive. This is why the area was named the Drake Passage. No one had sailed this route before, and those who did either didn't return or didn't survive to tell the story. Drake believed that beyond the Drake Passage lay another world, perhaps an island that no one had discovered. What he thought was an island was actually Antarctica. For thousands of years, people believed that there was a southern continent. The ancient Greeks referred to it as Terra Australis Incognita, meaning the unknown southern land, but no one had ever seen it. In the 18th century, British explorer Captain Cook set out to find the southern continent. He crossed the entire Atlantic Ocean and entered the Southern Ocean, but still, he didn't find Antarctica and barely escaped the Drake Passage. Captain Cook never sailed through this region again. In his journal, he wrote that the risk of discovering the southern continent was so great that no one would dare venture there. The Drake Passage is dangerous because it's the point where the cold waters of Antarctica meet the warm waters of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, creating a powerful flow of 200 million cubic yards per second. To put this in perspective, the flow of the Amazon River, the world's most powerful river, is 600 times weaker than the flow in the Drake Passage. As a result, waves in this area can rise to 60 to 80 feet, which is incredibly dangerous for ships. The meeting of cold and warm waters also causes cyclones, and the temperature can drop to -5 degrees Celsius. The region is remote, with Antarctica below and treacherous seas above. If a ship has an accident here, help is extremely difficult to come by. In the 17th century, Captain Cook warned the world that attempting to discover the southern continent was dangerous and impractical. But human curiosity led explorers to try anyway. By the 20th century, there was a craze for exploration and discoveries, especially among those interested in Antarctica. In 1914, famous British explorer Ernest Shackleton set out to explore Antarctica. While crossing the Atlantic Ocean, his ship got caught in the Drake Passage's powerful waves and was pushed into ice glaciers, destroying it completely. Shackleton and his crew were forced to find help, and after a month of drifting at sea, Shackleton finally reached South Georgia Island. In his journal, he described the experience as the most dangerous part of the world's oceans. Shackleton later referred to Antarctica as the last great journey left to man. Despite numerous attempts to rescue his team, no one perished, which was considered a miraculous outcome. In April 2012, a Brazilian businessman named João Lara was filming a documentary with 4 others aboard his luxury cruise ship when a sudden storm hit. The waves, reaching up to 100 feet, caused the ship to crash into the Antarctic ice. Luckily, the ship's radio still worked, and they were able to send a rescue request to Chile. However, the rescue team took 4 days to reach them, and everyone was saved. In the past decade, there have been many such incidents, though modern ships are now safer and fewer accidents happen compared to the past. Still, most ships avoid the Drake Passage, preferring the narrower Strait of Magellan, despite its harsh weather and cold. Before the Panama Canal was built, all commercial ships used this route to travel from western South America to North America. Since the canal was constructed, this route has been less frequently used. But with the Panama Canal's future now uncertain, more ships may begin to use the Drake Passage again. The Drake Passage remains one of the world's no-go zones, but it plays a crucial role in the Earth's ecosystem. When Antarctica's ice melts, the water flows into the oceans through this passage. It also serves as a reminder that, no matter how advanced technology becomes, humans are still as vulnerable to nature as we were thousands of years ago.